So our next speaker is Gunilla Oswald. She is the CEO of BioArctic, and she will present the company today and perhaps give us an update on the status of the company and their clinical programs. So without further ado, Gunilla, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here today and to be able to present BioArctic to you. At BioArctic, we focus on improving lives of patients with diseases in the central nervous system, such as Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease. BioArctic, we are listed at Nasdaq Stockholm Mid Cap, and this is our disclaimer. BioArctic is a unique Swedish biopharma company, and we focus on improving lives for patients with CNS disorders. When I say that BioArctic is a unique company, what do I mean by that? I put it into the combination of 4 different aspects, as you see on the slide. The first one is that we work in areas where there is a huge unmet medical need, in areas like Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease. On the market today, they have only symptomatic treatments, and we focus on disease-modifying treatments, which is aimed to affect the underlying disease and to slow down the progression of the disease. And if we can do that, then we can help the patients and their relatives and society. And of course, these are big diseases with many patients suffering, and they are growing and growing. So there is a huge commercial opportunity in these areas. The second aspect is that we have fantastic personnel, highly skilled, innovative scientists, and very vastly experienced drug developers. We work closely with universities and with different contract organizations, and very close with our strategic partners, Eisai in Alzheimer's disease and AbbVie in Parkinson's disease. The third aspect is that we have an attractive and well-balanced portfolio. And our portfolio span all the way from early discovery all the way to phase 3. And we have a good combination of already partnered programs, which is generating income, and the early stage program, which has a huge opportunity for future marketing and partnering. The fourth aspect is that we are well financed. We have more than 1 billion Swedish crowns on the bank, and we have been net profitable all the time since I came on board 7 years ago. We have those valuable collaboration agreements in place, which could lead up to 9.6 billion Swedish crowns plus royalties if we come all the way to the market. And I think that also shows that we have a good business model that works. So all in all, if you combine this, I think BioArctic is a unique Swedish biopharma company which has huge opportunities for the future. As I said, at BioArctic, we focus on improving lives for patients with CNS disorders. And we divide our work in 5 different areas. The first one is the largest, Alzheimer's disease. And there we have BAN2401, which has progressed the furthest. And of course, I will talk a lot about BAN2401 here today. We have partnered this in Alzheimer's disease with Eisai, and they presented 2018 positive results in a large phase 2b trial. And today, now we have an ongoing phase 3 program, which is aimed to confirm those positive results in early Alzheimer's disease patients. They have now 3 clinical programs underway or in planning, which I will talk more about here today. So a lot of things is happening with BAN2401. At BioArctic, we also focus on 4 fully owned early programs at research and discovery stage. And they are all disease modifying, with the aim, and all of them are antibody-based, and all of them have different mechanism of actions. So I think that will also be a good help for this huge patient population, where there will be room for many different treatments in the future and potential combinations. The next area is Parkinson's disease, and there we have a huge collaboration with AbbVie. And the most advanced program here is ABBV-0805, where AbbVie just recently initiated the second part of phase 1 with Parkinson's disease patients. At BioArctic, we focus on discovery programs in collaboration with AbbVie. The third area is different kind of neurodegenerative disorders. And here we talk about BAN2401 in other indications, as well as a new research project, which has a potential for different CNS disorders. The fourth area is something that excites me a lot, and this is a blood-brain barrier technology, a platform, where the aim is to improve the penetration of antibodies across the blood-brain barrier so it can come into the brain and make the trick. And here we are competing with several big pharma, and we have really encouraging competitive results. So this is a huge opportunity for the future. It's early days, we are investing a lot at BioArctic, and we are really competitive. So that's something for the future. The fifth area is diagnostics. And when you work with disease-modifying treatments, it's very important to be able to find the patients at an early stage, identify them, and then give a treatment so you can save as much as possible of the brain. So therefore, we also work on better diagnostic tools, both imaging of the brain as well as biochemical biomarkers, all based on our antibodies and in collaboration with different universities. This slide shows our attractive and well-balanced portfolio. As you can see, those 5 areas you recognize again. You also see that Alzheimer's disease is our largest area. We have BAN2401 in collaboration with Eisai for Alzheimer's disease, and they have also partnered with Biogen since 2014. Eisai and Biogen are sharing all the clinical costs, so we have no clinical costs ourselves, and it's Eisai who should have a lot of credit for the great work which is happening in this program. We have also licensed out a backup compound to Eisai. We have 4 fully owned programs, and you see that there is one which is new, that has been added to the portfolio. In the Parkinson's disease area, everything is partnered with AbbVie, and there we have ABBV-0805, which just then passed the second stage into phase 1. And you can see our new little program there, ND3014, which has huge possibilities for several different CNS disorders for the future. So a good combination of different programs in different stages, and all costly clinical programs are being financed by our strategic partners. And we focus our efforts on new innovative programs for future partnering. Some words about our 2 great collaborations. In Alzheimer's disease, we have been collaborating with Eisai since 2005. And Eisai are very committed to helping patients with dementia. And they are also very committed to BAN2401. So far, BioArctic has received 62 million euros out of the total aggregated value of 221 million euros. And if we come all the way to the market, high single-digit royalties of revenues could be expected. And if you think about how huge this patient population is with early Alzheimer's disease, then the income or the revenues for BioArctic could be like a blockbuster income without having any costs for the clinical studies. I think that's a pretty good business model for us. Also, BioArctic, we still own other indications, and we also have the right to sell on the Nordic market within Alzheimer's disease. And as I will talk about also, Eisai has also talked about that they are planning a prevention trial in even earlier stages. So, I mean, this program has enormous possibilities for the future. If we look at Parkinson's disease, our other great partner, AbbVie, they have been collaborating with us since 2016. And so far, we have got $130 million out of the total aggregated value of $755 million in milestones. And if we come all the way to the market, we can expect also substantial royalties, since this is also a big population with Parkinson's disease. But they have also already communicated that they are looking into other indications in addition to Parkinson's disease, such as multiple systemic atrophy and Lewy body dementia. So I can see that both these areas could be substantial potential future incomes for BioArctic. So at BioArctic, we're situated and located here in Stockholm. We have a very experienced management team. We have highly skilled scientists and drug developers. And we work very closely with universities and with different contract organizations, and of course with our 2 strategic partners. Then we come to the different projects, and I'll start with Alzheimer's disease and BAN2401, which is a potential disease-modifying treatment for early Alzheimer's disease. And this is where we had the positive phase 2b results. As you know, Alzheimer's disease is a huge population, and it's growing and growing. BAN2401 has a unique binding profile, and it was specifically designed and generated to bind and eliminate those toxic forms of amyloid beta that we call oligomers or protofibrils, and be selective. And this is important, and this is where we differentiate versus competitors. And that has also shown that we have a different profile in the clinical setting versus competitors. So in a large phase 2b trial with 856 early Alzheimer's disease patients, the data showed that we had a rapid onset of clinical effect. Already after 6 months, that was a start of seeing the effect. And it increased over time. And what really impressed me was that we had so consistent effect. We had effect on all 3 clinical endpoints. We had a dramatic effect in taking away amyloid from the brain. And we also had effect on several neurodegenerative biomarkers. Importantly, we also had a good safety tolerability profile shown with BAN2401. And this is important because that means that we can give the top dose directly to the patients without any titration, in contrast to our competitors who need 6 to 9 months slow titration. We can give the top dose directly, and still we have a very low frequency of the side effects. So on this slide, I would like to then explain for you how the broad clinical program of BAN2401 looks like, which Eisai is driving. So first of all, the Clarity AD, the confirmatory phase 3 trial, which started in May last year, and then BioArctic received a milestone. The study is ongoing. Now it's a global study. US, Canada, Europe, Japan, South Korea. China is just going to start right now. And the total target is 1,566 early Alzheimer's disease patients. And for us, just out of curiosity, we are really happy to see that the recruitment of Swedish patients are going really, really well, in spite of the COVID-19 situation. The recruitment are going really well. And we are so happy to see that Sweden now is on board. Eisai just communicated that the primary endpoint, 18 months results, are expected in 2022. The second program, which is ongoing, is also in the early Alzheimer's disease population, which consists of stage 3 and stage 4, according to the FDA classification. So mild cognitive impairment and mild Alzheimer's disease. And the second one is what we call the open label extension study, which is those patients who were part of the phase 2b trial with the positive results. They were welcomed back to get all of them to get the top dose now. And they had been without treatment for approximately 2 years. And we have now 200 patients in this trial. And Eisai presented results in December at the Alzheimer Congress, where they showed that the baseline data, when they came back, they could see that the benefit they had had on taking away amyloid from the brain and the clinical effect was maintained even 2 years after stop treatment. The new program that Eisai is planning together with Alzheimer Clinical Trial Consortium in the US is called AHEAD 345. And this is a prevention phase 3 program, which is intended for even earlier stages, which FDA classifies as stage 2 and stage 1, so preclinical Alzheimer's disease. The A45 study, that is aimed for about 1,000 subjects who have little or no cognitive impairments, but they have elevated levels of amyloid in the brain. In the A3 study, that trial is for stage 1 patients, about 400 subjects with very early stages. Then they have no cognitive impairment, and they have intermediate levels of amyloid in the brain. The key endpoints to look at in this study will be different kind of biomarkers, just like those we had in phase 2 and in phase 3. and some others as well. So amyloid and tau and neurodegenerative biomarkers. And the clinical scale that will be evaluated here with is called PAC5, and that's very sensitive for these very early stages. So I think that it's very, very encouraging to see. Clarity AD is, of course, the key focus, and that's progressing well as the open label extension study, where we will be seeing data coming along since it's an open study. And then the new program that ASI has said that it's expected to start this year together with ACTC. Then we turn to Parkinson's disease, and there we have ABBV-0805 as a potential disease-modifying antibody in collaboration with AbbVie. And the first treatment is meant for Parkinson's disease patients, and Parkinson is the second most common neurodegenerative disorder. In a similar way as BAN2401, ABBV-0805 is specially generated to bind and eliminate those toxic forms of aggregated protein. But this protein is then alpha-synuclein instead of amyloid beta. And here we have very strong preclinical results, which founded the base for the great collaboration deal that we have with AbbVie. In December 2018, AbbVie licensed the whole alpha-synuclein portfolio for all indications. And that was after a couple of years with a great collaboration where we had been delivering ABBV-0805, and we also have continued to develop further backup compounds. In February last year, we got approval from the IND that we had been writing from BioArctic that FDA approved. And AbbVie started phase 1 in healthy volunteers in March last year. And just recently, they initiated screening of patients for the second part of the phase 1 study with the aim at looking at safety tolerability. Our great collaboration with AbbVie has also been highlighted in a paper in Drug Discovery Today, now in March, which talked about some key success factors for a great collaboration. And this is important when we think about future collaborations and partnering of our early portfolio, where we have a huge interest already from different large pharmas. BioArctic, we have a strong financial position, which is great in these days now with COVID-19 and so forth. It's great for us to know that we have 1 billion Swedish crowns, a bit more than that, on the bank, so we can focus on continuing to drive our early programs and increase the value of the projects. As I said, we have been net profitable the last 7 years, and we have those great collaboration deals with us. And we are listed on Nasdaq Stockholm Mid Cap with a market cap of about 6 billion Swedish. So the upcoming news flow, if we look a bit ahead, so then it is, of course, Alzheimer's disease and BAN2401, where we will see how Clarity AD is progressing with the aim of the key results in 2022. And of course, we will follow the open label extension study where ASI will present data along the line, since this is an open study. And we will also look forward to seeing when the prevention phase 3 program will start. The future congresses to look out for is AAIC in July and CTAD in November. And it's amazing how the Alzheimer congresses have turned into a digital world. So it's fascinating how easy it can be done when there is something really important to focus on. We will continue to drive our early programs in Alzheimer's disease. And in Parkinson's disease, it's of course the ABBV-0805 to progress into later stages and so forth, and different publications. And then our early portfolio and blood-brain barrier technology platform is also something that we, of course, are focusing on. And in spite of the COVID-19 situation, we have so far been able to drive our programs further in a very good way without any notable disturbances, which I think is a fantastic achievement. So this is my last slide. I just want to end with that BioArctic is built on great science. We have great projects, and it's driven by great people. And we do everything we do with patients in mind. We really want to help to have better treatments for the future for patients with CNS disorders. Thank you very much.
Excellent. So thank you very much, Gunilla. So we'll start a short Q&A session. So looking at historical and other Alzheimer trials, a big issue has been having and including patients which actually have the disease and suffer from the disease. How have you worked in this historical trials and this current trial, AD, with establishing that the patients truly have the disease, and how does that impact the riskiness of the study and the study quality overall?
It's a very important question you are raising. And I'm happy to say that when Eisai and BioArctic designed the phase 2 trial, that was already then included in that trial to make sure that the patients had Alzheimer's disease pathology. So all patients in the phase 2b trial and in the phase 3 trials have to be scanned for either a PET scan to see that you have amyloid over the brain, or a CSF sample to see that you have amyloid in your liquor. So already at a very early stage, BAN 2401 made sure to take those measurements. And this is important if you compare with some of the failures previously. They had about 20 to 30% of the patients who had dementia, but not of Alzheimer's type. And then if you dilute your patient sample, it's difficult to show an effect if you don't have the right patients. So that's really, really important. And it was like that in phase 2b and in phase 3.
Interesting. So shifting gears a bit to the Parkinson project here. I know obviously it's quite early days from a marketable product, but a challenge in the Parkinson setting has been establishing actual sort of approvable endpoints and study designs and finding the right population segment. How far are you in the work of looking out towards a pivotal trial, and what steps are you looking at now for that?
It's another excellent question. And here, I mean, we're so happy that we're working with an excellent partner like AbbVie, who has a lot of experience in Parkinson's disease since they have duodopa on the market, another Swedish invention, by the way. And they are preparing for the phase 2 program now. And so it's not clear yet exactly which endpoints, but there is a lot of things to learn from the current studies and the previous failures. So I think there is a lot of similarities between the previous Alzheimer's fields where we learned a lot that we utilized and got successful results. And I think we are in the same positive situation in Parkinson's disease. It's not always best to be first, it's best to be best.
Exactly. Yeah. So
and could be first as well, you don't know.
Yeah, and just a quick add-on question to that. Do you think that it will be pivoted towards the earlier stage patients or the later stage patient? Do you have any guidance on that?
Yes. So I think when you work with a disease-modifying treatment, like an antibody, which also should have a good safety tolerability profile, we want to come in early, because then we save as much as possible of the brain and help the patients to prolong the best stage of the early disease as much as possible. So come in, identify patients, come in early and help the patients as much as possible. That's definitely the area for our programs.
Interesting. And just as a final question, what's the next upcoming milestones, and could you perhaps sort of intertwine that with the next upcoming potential milestone payment from your partner? Yeah.
So this is, of course, a question everyone would like to know. And I can just say that we have a normal milestone program with our partners, like start of next clinical stage and so forth, and then regulatory submissions and approvals and so forth. And I'm not allowed to reveal the dates.
I understand. So thank you very much.
But we are definitely working towards helping the patients, that I can say.
Sounds great. So in the interest of time, I have to cut it short here, but thank you very much, Gunilla. We look forward to following the progress of BioArctic and hope that everything will go smoothly forward. So thank you very much for today. And
thank you very much. Thank you.